17 for the truths you almost guessed. Being a ninja wasn't all retrieving stolen scrolls from enemy territory and saving princesses from towers. After graduating, they were considered adults in all ways that mattered. Except they were adults with no field experience. To prove themselves trustworthy, they were stuck taking the missions more seasoned ninjas couldn't be bothered with, which meant D ranks. Too excited to stand still, Naruto ran ahead on their way to their first mission, so ready to prove himself. Only for Team 7 to spend the afternoon chasing 25 chickens. They'd escaped their coop, and it was up to Team 7 to chase them down through the forest. A process that involved shrieking, slipping, and poultry-related humiliation before herding them back to the farm. But even if their first mission fell short of expectations, Naruto wasn't deterred, bouncing eagerly when they headed off for their second, where they had to negotiate a peaceful retrieval with a book hoarder. Fortunately, it wasn't Shiho. No, it was an older man who checked out 42 books from the library and refused to return them. He ignored Harui's polite requests, too busy explaining how the moon was a giant egg, and his books proved it. "And when it hatches, a rabbit god will be born!" he insisted. Naruto was halfway converted to the guy's conspiracy theories before Sasuke threatened to burn the books, which got him moving. Then came the endless maintenance D ranks, polishing the metal railings on bridges, carrying crates of decorative lanterns to the festival committee, checking that all public notice boards had up-to-date maps, and that all of the street lamps around Konoha were in order. "Why are we doing this?" Naruto exclaimed as they were updating the notice boards in the civilian market. "It's so pointless! How does polishing railings protect Konoha? Are we going to blind an enemy with shininess? Why are we counting street lamps?" "Better visibility means a safer village," Kakashi-sensei said, sounding like he'd rather be anywhere else. "This is protection too." Harui took down a flyer that didn't match the approved notice format, unsure whether it belonged there. "What about this?" she asked Kakashi-sensei, showing him. "East Orphanage Fire, 10 years on, family still seeking answers." In the corner, someone had written in small underlined letters, "They won't tell us!" "Throw it." Harui frowned at the unauthorized posting, but crumpled it up and tossed it into the trash with the rest. "Hey, if the village is willing to fix streetlights, then all the ones in the Uchiha district haven't worked in years," Harui piped up. "The whole district is black except our house." Kakashi paused at that, looking as if he considered it more seriously than Naruto's complaint. "I think the main public areas get first priority, but we'll mark it down." Team 7's latest mission was to help a civilian with household charms. "Household charms?" Harui read aloud, and suddenly she was the one bouncing ahead of Naruto with overblown expectations. "We're going to a witch or a wizard?" Recognizing her tone, Sasuke rolled his eyes. "No, I don't know why it's written that way," Kakashi-sensei mused. "All we're doing is helping an old woman clean her home." Their sensei was right. Their client, Madame Kinu, was really an elderly civilian. She wasn't a witch, she just thought she was one. "My salt jars need protecting from curses," the old woman explained seriously, her wrinkly hands ringing around an aged jar. "It must be blessed to lift the evil spells." "What?" Sasuke asked. Checking what was going on, Harui took the little jar gingerly. After all, what if it was cursed? It was nothing more exciting than the salt and sugar being mislabeled. After checking the rest, it turned out most of the jars in the kitchen were. Next, Madame Kinu tasked him to set up a ritual circle. It involved lighting a collection of scented candles, stacked like a fence around her living room. Lavender, cinnamon, vanilla, and forest breeze. The collected odor bomb was overwhelming. not unlike stepping into Professor Trelawney's classroom. Fortunately, the next chore was outside. They had to ward the house, which was more putting up strings with bells and old paper wards that weren't even proper jutsu. Good work, team. I haven't seen warding this decorative since my Academy Arts and Crafts class. Kakashi-sensei mused and went back to his books. Last, we have to... Sasuke read off their to-do list. Banish spirits from the attic. Naruto stopped in his tracks. Spirits in the attic? His voice had gone high and funny. You mean... ghosts? Sasuke eyed him, unimpressed. You're scared? No way! There's no need to be afraid of ghosts, Haruhi told Naruto reassuringly. For one, she hadn't seen any ghosts in Konoha, and secondly, back in England, they'd been harmless. Thirdly, poltergeists were the real problem. I'm positive there isn't one up there. Because they're not real? Sasuke glanced knowingly at her, but Haruhi avoided his eye, gaze darting up to the trapdoor instead. Because they're not real? Sasuke's smirk slipped, becoming slightly more stilted. Right? As she didn't want to lie, she left the answer hanging in the air and pointed. I'm going up. Leaving the boys to bicker, Haruhi climbed up the ladder to the pitch-dark attic. It was cool and so dark she couldn't see a foot ahead. The attic air felt stale and close, tinged with a thin edge she couldn't quite recognize. She squinted into the dark corners, imagining something shifting. Was Haruhi not alone? Could Naruto and Madame Kinu be right? Naruto's voice drifted through the open trapdoor from the hallway below. But don't you feel like something's listening to us? Get real, moron. Sasuke dismissed Naruto and called up to her. Hey, Haruhi, what's the situation up there? Dark. For now I'll get a flashlight. She considered activating her Sharingan, but just as she was about to activate her chakra, she changed her mind. Instead, she pivoted to the other end. With memories of how easy this had been once upon a time and how different it was now, Haruhi lifted her empty hand, determined to try a spell. After her success with her Sharingan during the bell test, the answer seemed so close. If she had to bend magic backwards to allow chakra to her eyes, shouldn't casting a magic spell just be the opposite? Lean the chakra back and allow the magic forwards. Just do it. She inhaled deeply, ignoring the rustling in the corner. Her chakra drew back and held. Hopefully enough that activating her spiritual energy wouldn't trigger her yin release instead of magic. It was a balancing act of chakra control and wandless magic. Her magic like a campfire on an island amidst a lake, and she had to split the lake for the fire's safe path back to land. Lumos, she whispered. She felt it so much more in this body than as Holly. A static prickle rushed towards her eyes, and green sparks danced across her vision as a faint flicker took shape. Just the tiniest glow formed between her fingers. It held for a second, and next the light quenched as her chakra rushed forwards. Magic and chakra crashed, snuffing each other out, leaving her head throbbing. Damn it! It was so hard. If only Haruhi had her wand! But there were no wands in the elemental nations. Her only option was to master this in a new way, with less tools and harder balancing, like reinventing the function of wheels with a triangle. A sea of harsh lights washed over her, illuminating the worn walls and casting sharp shadows. She turned around, squinting like a deer in the headlights into the flashlight Sasuke pointed at her. A weary but determined Naruto climbed up too, and next there was a noisy, flapping commotion. A leathery flutter brushed past her ear, followed by a chorus of squeaks. Gah! We've angered Scared the ghosts! Naruto staggered back, stepping right onto the empty air of the open stepladder, and... bam, thump! Naruto vanished out of sight as he fumbled down. Ouch. You idiot! It's not ghosts! Sasuke said, exasperated. It's never fucking ghosts! Kakashi-sensei poked his head in long enough to assess whether Naruto had broken anything, then returned to the kitchen to drink his tea and munch biscuits with Madame Kinu. Sasuke wasn't wrong either. The spirits in the attic were just a family of bats they'd riled up with a flashlight. After some chaos, Team 7 relocated them to a less intrusive home. When they left, Haruhi lingered with the client. Madame Kinu? She asked carefully, because it was a long shot. Yet, it wasn't every day she came across another self-proclaimed witch. Granted, she risked sounding a bit insane, but Sasuke always said that about Haruhi too when she talked of magic. Why can't you just cast these household charms yourself? Haruhi asked carefully. Why hire us to do it? Kinu waved a wrinkly hand. I'm a bit under the weather, dear. Spellcasting takes it out of the best of us. Haruhi bit her lip. Because of the imbalance? Like the chakra gets in the way? Madame Kinu looked lost. She had no idea what Haruhi was getting at. Forget it. Haruhi shook her head and went to join the boys. Kakashi-sensei's eye flicked over as she passed, his one visible eyebrow arched. They left the property soon after. Nah, Haruhi, back in the academy, didn't you say you were the witch of the Uchiha? Naruto asked, bouncing up to her side. Of all the things he'd remember, Haruhi should have figured, but well... Absolutely, she said, nodding firmly. Ha! You better be careful! Naruto laughed and pointed back. Or that's gonna be you in 60 years! Naruto and Sasuke locked eyes, snickering and sharing amusement at Haruhi's expense. But the joke was on them. Maybe Madame Kinu was a witch after all, because summoning this level of friendliness between the boys likely meant witchcraft was at play. Do you actually believe in witches? Kakashi-sensei asked. Well, Haruhi smiled, light and unreadable. Let's just say, if you hear of one, I'd like to know. She moved ahead and Kakashi sighed under his breath. Great. One jumps at ghosts and the other's chasing witches. Team 7 traipsed over to the Kage Tower to report the mission accomplished, arriving just as Team 10 was on their way out. From what they overheard, it sounded like all the rookie teams were indiscriminately given shit assignments. Literally. But I don't want to! Ino's voice carried down the staircase. It's a farm, and we'll have to scoop poop! This is not why I became a kunoichi! Ah! Ino spotted them by the doorway, and quickly put on a forced smile, her tone chipper. Good day, Sasuke-kun! Asuma-sensei, can't we switch it? Choji pleaded. Ask for another one? No, the Hokage assigned us this cleanup. We've been entrusted with this task. Their sensei said, holding back a smile. Easy for you to say, Shikamaru huffed. You're going to smoke and call it management. Haruhi smiled apologetically as Asuma ushered his team out of the tower, secretly relieved not to be in their sandals. After their team reported mission completion to admin, Kakashi had nothing more for them except setting up a meeting point for the following morning. 9 at the bridge, Sasuke repeated. Are you going to be there or do we have to wait again? However, Sasuke's very astute question was left ignored and unanswered. Kakashi-sensei squirming out of answering with a deflection and a wave before he was gone. He's wasting our time, Sasuke sighed. He is, Haruhi agreed, her stomach doing a turn, noticing the time. And now he's made me late too. I'm supposed to meet Shiho and Tenten. Do you know how many hours of training we've already lost just waiting for him? Sasuke pointed out. And these missions are useless. How exactly is it making me stronger? Naruto folded his arms. Yeah, what's the point of these stupid D ranks, eh? It's not real ninja work. Where's the challenge, Tadabayo? He said with a lot of bravado for someone who'd spent the day hyperventilating over ghosts. Tsk. Her cousin pursed his lips, watching Haruhi leave before Naruto dragged him into another round of bickering. Haruhi dashed through the village, hoping her friends wouldn't be annoyed. It had been hard enough to hang out since Shiho and Tenten graduated last year, but somehow it became near impossible once Haruhi became a genin too. But she'd insisted they meet at her house. Naturally, she was the one late. Classic. When the house came into view, 3 figures stood waiting by the gate. Tenten had her hands on her hips, tapping her foot with theatrical impatience. Shiho stood beside her, looking more resigned than annoyed. There you are, Tenten said. We were about to send out a search party. Inku sat perched on the stone fence like a tiny emperor, tail flicking in slow irritation. She? Inku informed Tenten and Shiho, as if this was their fault. I told you Haruhi will be momentarily delayed. Sorry, Haruhi called. Genin life is meowsy. Tenten laughed. Messy? Meowsy, Inku corrected. Too many missions, not enough naps. Shiho nodded sympathetically. I understand completely. Inku gave her an approving look. I didn't mean to run late, Haruhi panted, fishing out her keys. Client had spirits in the attic. Turned out to be bats. Shiho brushed a hand through her frizzy hair. That sounds unpleasant. Very flappy, Haruhi said. Come on in. They slipped off their sandals while Inku wove between their ankles and shot off down the hallway. His tail disappeared into his room, while Tenten and Shiho went ahead of Haruhi towards the kitchen. How do you like being a genin? Tenten asked, glancing over her shoulder. How's your team? You're with your cousin, aren't you? It hit a nerve, and the lingering headache from her failed lumos didn't help. Haruhi groaned and started unloading as they entered the kitchen. Sasuke is great. I know how to work with him. It's the other 2 I don't know about. Naruto was the dead last, and though he tries, he's usually the most enthusiastic. He can be a bit... How did one describe Naruto? Distracting? And that would be fine, except he and Sasuke argue. A lot. And I can only do so much. I can tell them to cut it out, but it doesn't mean they'll listen. And then there's our sensei. The dead last and rookie of the year, with you in the middle. Shiho nodded along. Sounds like my team. Without prompting, Shiho opened the kitchen cabinet to get the cups while Haruhi put on the kettle to make tea. Tenten went to the fridge, putting together a tray of snacks. Oh yeah? Haruhi murmured. Well, I honestly can't tell whether Kakashi-sensei wants to be there, or if we're simply the latest mission dumped on his desk he wants done with. Shiho pushed her glasses up to the bridge of her nose. Alright, that does sound a little less like my team. Guy-sensei makes it very clear he wants us there. The rest tumbled out of Haruhi in a huffy jumble, adding out some of her bubbling uncertainty to the most sympathetic ears around. Even if the girls didn't have the same experience, they'd hear her out. Kakashi-sensei arrives late, watches us work and leaves early. And he hasn't trained us yet, it's purely missions. Okay, that's nothing like my team. We hardly do missions between training. But you know, Haruhi, I'd rather take more D ranks. It's easy money and a break from the training plan. Shiho muttered, sounding jealous now. D ranks didn't pay the best, but it was an easy income. It's just that Haruhi didn't really need it, though she knew better than to talk of that too much with Shiho. Haruhi was after a trainer to become a good ninja. Shiho was after a steady paycheck. They were not in the same situation. Shiho adjusted her glasses. It's just so much training. Being Gai Sensei's student took a lot, and Shio was barely surviving. Haruhi was a little jealous too. As for Kakashi Sensei, her gut reaction to compare him to Snape faded after the bell test, but what replaced that facade was another facade. Did he hate them? Tolerate them? Notice them at all? Haruhi could only guess, and that guess changed daily. With the water boiled, the girls collected everything on a tray. The kitchen had a bigger table, but Sasuke might come home soon, and he got grumpy when Haruhi's friends lingered in rooms he wanted to use, so they went to the tea room instead. Tenten dropped onto a cushion with a sigh. Shio straightened the invisible folds of her kimono and sat poised. "How are you doing?" Haruhi asked Shio, setting out the cups. "Sounds like the training program hasn't eased up at all with Gai-sensei. Are you keeping up?" "No," Shio grimaced. "How can I, with teammates like Neji and Lee? They're possessed, I swear. If you thought their taijutsu was good at the academy, you should see them now. And yesterday, Gai-sensei mentioned the Chunin exam. He's made each of us a new training program to prepare." Tenta looked up. "You're entering the Chunin exams?" "Really?" Haruhi was careful to keep her expression even. "I'd rather have tried for another method of promotion than those exams. Maybe make Chunin through a specialty instead. But both Neji and Lee are determined," Shio explained briskly. "We didn't participate earlier, but the boys have a different attitude for this one, and they simply can't enter without me. If we must attend the Chunin exam, I'd rather attend the Konan exams than travel to another great village. That doesn't sound safe." "This summer, huh?" Haruhi asked, chewing on her bottom lip. She'd only just become Genin, and Shio was going to try for a Chunin promotion? Lee and Neji? Haruhi glanced at Tenten. Would she too? A tiny jolt went through her, firing that all-familiar urge to keep up, the spark of Uchiha competitiveness rearing its head. "In June," Shio specified. "Huh," Haruhi murmured. All those maintenance missions Team 7 had done suddenly made a suspicious amount of sense. Of course Konoha wasn't just testing them. It was tidying up before international dignitaries arrived for the exams. Like Hogwarts polishing suits of armor before the Triwizard tournament. Lovely. The room smelled of clean tatami mats and brewing jasmine tea. She checked the clock and deemed the tea ready, and went to pour everyone a cup each. "We still have time, and Gai-sensei is not allowing us to spend it idle," Shio said. "I'm going to train after I'm done here." "You're lucky," Haruhi admitted, able to make it sound teasing. "I wish Kakashi-sensei prepared us that way. Instead, it's just hours of waiting for him to show up and do missions until it's time to leave." Shio frowned. "That's a fair assessment. Gai-sensei trains us on his free time. As a Jonin sensei, he is not actually obligated to do anything further than supervise our missions. The rest of his training is volunteer work." "By that logic, you showing up is volunteering too," Haruhi reminded Shio. "I'm glad you're sticking to it." "You could come," her friend offered, as if the thought just occurred to her. "For practice. As we just established, even if we're an official team during working hours, the practices are actually done on our spare time. If you happen to spend your spare time where we spend our spare time, why can't you just join us?" I don't know. Isn't that rude?" she wondered, taken off guard. "It's not normal," Tenten agreed. "Why though? There's nothing in the rulebook against it." Shio dismissed at once, and if anyone would know, it'd be her. "Lee and Neji?" "Well, since when did you care what they thought?" Tenten teased. Shio waved the argument away with a dismissive flick of the wrist. "You'd come at my invite. I'm not saying Gai-sensei will teach or anything, but we're working out as a group. Running, strength training, flexibility. basics anyone can do anywhere, except longer than anyone would call reasonable. And it's such a boys' club. Lee and Neji are so far ahead of me, it's not even funny. How's that possible? I've participated in the same training they did, but somehow they get results so much faster than I do. Shio grumbled a few choice words that sounded like ridiculous boys under her breath. But you'd be training by yourself at home anyway. Why not do it with me? You can help me! Shio leaned forwards over the table, grabbing her hand with the expression of someone looking for a lifeline. I need you. I'm not built for Gaia and Lee's level of enthusiasm. Haruhi and Tenten both laughed, but Shio remained tragically serious. Is it Neji enough? I'd be dead without Neji. He's the only sane one besides myself. But Neji can keep up. He doesn't get it. Haruhi shifted. She'd been about to agree, but that remark irked her a bit. Why did Shiho assume Haruhi wouldn't be able to keep up? She would. Haruhi was not a battered cripple anymore. Even so, that didn't mean it'd be easy to keep up with Neji. It never was. But at this point, yeah, she kind of wanted to see how she compared. Somehow, between academy rivalry, bloodline comparison and everything in between, Neji had become her baseline, an example of where Haruhi should be in her training. Though even she knew it was a weird way to think of things. It wasn't that straightforward, but comparing herself to Neji's progress was hardwired into her brain, even if she'd never admit it aloud. Neji would be so smug, or offended, likely both. Alright, Haruhi said, squeezing her hand back. But you have to ask Gai-sensei before I show up. Of course, but I know what they'll say. The more the merrier, or as Gai-sensei would phrase it, let the flames of youth spread to all who dare to sweat. Tenten giggled behind her hand, and Haruhi shook her head. Shiho's steam sounded so insane sometimes. How had the two most composed and diligent people she'd ever met somehow get teamed with the two of the most eccentric? Did they balance each other at all, or was it just pure clash? If your sensei won't do it, why not? Shiho said. If nothing else, you'll get your afternoon workout done. Yeah, Haruhi hummed. Shiho was onto something. Kakashi-sensei was their team captain, but he didn't seem interested in spending his free time on anything besides his book. She'd rather spend that time more productive, and even if he wasn't willing to train with him, maybe others would. It sure sounds better than D-ranks. D-ranks. Tenten smirked knowingly, as if basking in her misfortunes. Haruhi groaned. Blasted D-ranks. They never end. D-ranks are grunt work, Shio commiserated, taking a sip of her tea, but deeming it still too hot. Haruhi took a mouthful, the heat stirring inside her mouth, but well, fire jutsu. By now, she preferred it a little too hot. It's about getting used to the rhythm and the system, Tenten said, her cushion rustling as she stood up and stretched her legs, waiting for her cup to cool. Before you know it, you'll be doing proper missions, like me. We actually went on an A rank last month. A rank? Haruhi repeated. Even Shiho looked up sharply. Genma-sensei was needed for the ceiling. The rest of us mostly did cleanup. But still, A rank! Tenten walked around the tea room, coming to a stop by the picture wall. A sudden thump from the hallway made all three pause. A ball of yarn bounced past the doorway, followed by Inku in hot pursuit. He's fine, Haruhi said before anyone could ask. Shiho blew on the steaming beverage. Just remember that it won't last forever. I know, but... Haruhi frowned. It eats up a lot of training hours. I hope we get better missions soon, or some proper training. I'd love to train with your team, but it doesn't solve my own. We haven't been a team long and Sasuke is already getting frustrated. Tenten giggled. What? Haruhi asked. Did she find Sasuke's frustration giggle-worthy? It's just this. Tenten pointed at a photograph by her shoulder. Your getting photo is pretty funny. After the unboxing debacle last year, Haruhi had gathered up her old family pictures and made a collage of them up on the wall. At last, Haruhi had been able to add her own getting photo to the collection. Sasuke looks irritated and your sensei exasperated. You're goofing off, while that blonde kid looks delighted just to be there. That blonde one is Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto. Thanks. Tenten arched a brow. But I figured as much. Well, yeah. Naruto's usually pretty happy. Haruhi came up beside Tenten, whose attention was drifting to the rest of her photo collection. Who's in all these other photos? Anyone I'd know? Maybe this one, Haruhi said meaningfully. That's my dad's getting photo. His sensei was Jiraiya of the Sannin. Judging by Tenten's non-reaction, she had no clue. Sannin? Like Tsunade of the Sannin? Your hero? Haruhi spelled out the connection for her. They were teammates. For real? Tenten squeaked, clapping her hands together. That's so cool. Is he a medic too? No idea. Haruhi shrugged. Never met Jiraiya. I think he's dead. That's too bad. Tenten shrugged, then turned back to the photo wall, gaze roaming over the other pictures as Shio joined them. This is your brother's team, right? Shio asked, bending down for a closer look. I always thought his sensei looked like Neji. Huh, now that you mention it, the resemblance is uncanny. Haruhi tilted her head. She'd walked past that photo for as long as she could remember. It was just part of the wallpaper to her. But Shiho was completely right. His name was Hyuga Hisashi, so they're definitely of the same clan. Shio turned sharply. Neji's dad? What? That's Neji's dad. His name was Hisashi. Shio said with the same casual certainty someone would use to state that the sky is blue. Like this was something everyone should already know. Neji's dad was Shisui's sensei? Haruhi startled, stepping closer to examine the Genin photo. Shisui, Yugao, and their third were also round-faced and bright-eyed. They would have passed as second graders if it wasn't for their forehead protectors. And behind them a somber Hyuga towers. Haruhi could see the resemblance, but she just hadn't thought it mattered. Haruhi looked like several distant cousins too, even some completely unrelated people like the Jonin Sensei for Team 8, but they didn't make Yuhi Kurenai an Uchiha. Somehow though, this oversight felt personal. Why didn't she know that? Did Neji know? What else had she missed? Her eyes trailed between the portraits, her eyes not merely seeing but looking, as if she could perceive any other missing links if she just stared hard enough. From the picture of her mum and Aunt Mikoto, to her and Shisui as kids, and glancing between her dad's old Genin photo of Team Jiraiya and comparing it against her new Team 7 photograph. The colors almost paralleled a bit. Both sensei had greyish hair, there was an Uchiha on both, and there was even a blonde across the teams. In fact, Haruhi frowned. Hey, don't you think Naruto kind of looks like him? She pointed at her dad's Genin photo. Oh, sort of? Tenten laughed uncertain. The pictures portrayed two blondes with rather different expressions and mannerisms. One smiled calm and politely, the other boisterous and demanding the spotlight. I kind of see it, so maybe? Is it Naruto's dad? No? Haruhi said, suddenly unsure. But no, that wasn't realistic. If Naruto had shared any relation with that man, from uncle to distant cousin, how would a loud knucklehead ever shut up about it? He would have been bragging about it for years, because... That's the Ondaime Hokage. Despite dismissing Naruto's resemblance to a dead Hokage with Shio and Tenten, she ended up mentioning it to Sasuke the next morning. Her lingering embarrassment over missing the Neji connection to Shisui made her not want to make the same mistake twice. Sasuke was putting on sandals in the hallway when Haruhi unhooked a photograph from the wall and handed it to him. "Do you think that guy looks like Naruto?" Haruhi asked, sitting down on the step to put on her sandals too. He took one glance at the picture. "What?" he asked, disbelieving. "If the idiot looks like the Ondaime." She shrugged. "A little?" "No," he said, walking with purpose out the door. They were on the street when Haruhi took the picture back from Sasuke, musing aloud. "Well, the Ondaime was blonde and has blue eyes, and Naruto does too. They could be related, distant cousins or something. You could say the same of Ino, blonde hair with blue eyes. Does that make Naruto a cousin of the Yamanaka too? And there's others. That muggle boy at the weapon shop is blonde, and isn't your friend Shio a blonde? Her mother, Momo the nurse, is even more a blonde than her daughter with blue eyes too, right? Are they all related to Naruto too?" "Fine, I get it," Haruhi said, amused to hear Sasuke use the term muggle instead of civilian. "Though Momo doesn't have blue eyes, they're more greenish. Whatever." Sasuke cut her off. "Don't let something as shallow as looks deceive you. Blood is all that counts. We have black eyes and black hair. Does that make Shikamaru our cousin? Is Shino our cousin?" She chuckled. I get it. They continued down the street while the village slowly woke up around them. By the time they reached the training grounds, Naruto was already by the bridge by the river, bouncing in place like he'd been waiting for hours. Kakashi-sensei, naturally, was nowhere in sight. "What's that?" Naruto demanded, pointing at the photo before either Uchiha could greet him. "Why'd you bring a photo to team meeting?" Naruto became even more confused when Sasuke answered by simply holding out the picture next to his face for a side-by-side comparison. "See? Nothing," Sasuke stated in a deadpan, not even looking. Haruhi frowned, and just like that, they picked up right where they'd left off, discussing whether there was a family resemblance or not. Sasuke shrugged. "Their hair looks alike, sure, but that's it. He was a genius, a prodigy, a legend. And this idiot," he jabbed a thumb at Naruto, "is a walking disaster." Naruto was getting red in the face as Sasuke just kept going, and Haruhi regretted everything. Why hadn't she just left the photo at home? They were going to argue all day now. He's got a longer and sharper face than the idiot. Naruto's round like a tomato. Hey, did you just call me a tomato?" "That might be a compliment, Naruto." Haruhi butted in, trying to get ahead of the inevitable spat. "Sasuke loves tomatoes." "That doesn't make it any better to be called one," Naruto grumbled. "Whatever. Who is that patsy you keep pointing at anyway, eh? I'm much better than whoever this is." "It's the fourth Hokage," Haruhi said quickly. "Namikaze Minato." "What? Let me see. Naruto grabbed the photo. Nah, he looks like a shrimp. Nothing like the stone monument." Haruhi giggled. "He's rather small in that photo." "I've never seen a colored photograph of the Ondaime outside the one in the old man's office." "What old man?" Haruhi asked, unsure what he meant. "You know, grumpy old man Third's office." "You mean Hokage-sama?" Naruto nodded distractedly, as if it was commonplace to call a man regarded as a living legend something that demeaning. "Anyway, the Ondaime has always been a stone statue to me. Seeing him that little is weird." Naruto tilted his head. "So this was his Genin team then? Why do you have it?" Haruhi pointed to the boy in the middle. "Because that's my dad, Uchiha Kaji. They were teammates." "That's awesome! Your dad's a teammate of the Ondaime?" Naruto exclaimed. He must be super strong! Haruhi paused. It didn't pass her by that Naruto used present tense. From one orphan to another, that's not something she expected of him. Didn't he know? My parents are dead, Naruto. Oh, sorry. Mine too. I know. Who didn't know? Naruto was too loud and too open about private affairs for anyone to miss that. Then, none of us have parents? Naruto realized, holding between the three of them. Yeah. Wait, you knew Sasuke is an orphan, but not that I'm one? Haruhi clarified. Yes? Naruto said. But, you know Sasuke and I live together. Haven't you been to the Uchiha district? Haruhi asked. Did you think there was a lot of families living in that place? No way, it's creepy, so I didn't stick around. Naruto puffed up, but his gaze flickered uncertainly between them. That doesn't stop you two from living there, so I figured, I don't know, Sasuke lived with your family or something. Haruhi caught Sasuke's eye. Her cousin crossed his arms, leaning back against the bridge railing. I swear, you forget things faster than you hear them. Did you never question why Haruhi started our class so late? She was injured, right? Naruto gestured to her face. You said something about injuries holding you back a year. That was the result. Did you never wonder about the cause? How she got injured in the first place? Sasuke asked quizzically. He paused to judge Naruto's reaction, then forced the rest out in a quiet. It was the same man who killed her parents and mine. His voice dropped when he said killed, and he didn't look at Haruhi. Naruto's mouth fell open. Haruhi tilted her head. Now, she wasn't sure that was strictly accurate. Itachi killed Aunt Mikoto and Uncle Fugaku, but Haruhi's parents? That was a bit harder to pin down. It could have been the masked man, but even if it was the case, she understood why Sasuke kept saying it that way. It was a bit like how she used to say Voldemort killed Cedric, but the spellcaster of the killing curse had actually been Peter. She didn't know for sure whether Itachi killed her parents or not, but she knew he killed Taiko, Ume, and Eita, before he then lodged a katana through Haruhi's head too. Naruto's eyes grew wide, looking between the cousins as if several light bulbs were clicking on. Wait, that's why? Is that how your face got cut up? He sounded genuinely unnerved, his blue eyes filled with a sudden empathy she hadn't expected. Itachi did, Haruhi said shortly. Oh right! The guy Sasuke wants to kill! No wonder! She steadied herself, but... I'll help! How could anyone do that to you? It's horrible! I'm sorry, Haruhi, he blurted. I didn't know. Haruhi took a calming breath. You don't need to apologize for not knowing. Naruto's strength wasn't his memory anyway. No one could predict what would stick for him. He could remember Haruhi being called the Witch of the Uchiha from some academy squabble years ago, but last week, Haruhi also heard him ask Kakashi-sensei what chakra was. Chakra. It was one of those moments Haruhi really lost confidence in him. That was almost as weird as if Holly had walked up to Professor McGonagall at her Transfiguration's OWLs to ask what magic was. Chakra was in everything and everywhere, and if Naruto still couldn't remember something that fundamental, what could they expect? Besides, the massacre wasn't a topic they brought up easily. Still, it startled Haruhi sometimes just how few were truly aware of the massacre. Most older ninjas seemed to know, treating it as a sensitive subject. But within their age group, the ones in the know were few and far between. Only those who'd gone out and asked questions figured it out, and it turned out, not a lot had been curious. At most, their parents had said, something bad happened to the Uchiha. and that was enough to sate any curiosity for 99% of her age mates. Maybe it was natural to not noisy into others' business. Haruhi didn't noisy into other clans either, but it felt disconnected. They went on with their life in ways Sasuke and Haruhi couldn't. And Naruto? He didn't even have a parent to say that little. But you were onto something before. My dad was very strong. He was amazing. I bet he was! He was your dad after all. And, you know, this works out well. Naruto grinned. Because your dad was teammate with the future Hokage. And now you're teammate with the future Hokage too. Haruhi smiled despite herself. If only everyone had Naruto's confidence. Or maybe not. That'd be chaos. Teammate of the future Hokage, Mischievously, she glanced over at Sasuke. I didn't know you wanted to be Hokage, Sasuke. You should have told me. Him? Naruto bellowed. No, I meant me! Sasuke scoffed. Like the dead lost stands a chance. I do like the big hat. Haruhi teased, lifting her hands to her head to indicate the big triangular size. Maybe I'll be Hokage. Which, of course, only made Naruto more riled up. He was too easy. By the time he was jabbing a finger at the Yondaime's tiny genin face and loudly declaring his destiny, Kakashi-sensei finally wandered up behind them. Do I want to know what's happening here? Look at this genin photo Haruhi brought, Kakashi-sensei! Naruto shoved the picture at him, and then remembered belatedly, and you're late! Kakashi-sensei stared wide-eyed at the photograph. This is the Yondaime! Naruto said knowingly. Cool, huh? And he's so little! He scratched his chin. You're old. Did you meet him, Kakashi-sensei? Why did you bring photos to team meeting? Their sensei asked instead. Oh. Haruhi shot her blonde teammate a look. I just brought it to compare side by side. It felt silly now. If Naruto was related to the Yondaime, he would have bragged about it non-stop and reacted very differently. With what? Naruto asked. Sasuke sighed, exasperated anyone could be so thick. With you. But Kakashi-sensei cut him off by clapping his hands together. I know you kids have been tired of D rank missions, so today, what if we picked up a C rank instead, huh? What? Haruhi and Naruto said at the same time, heads whipping around to Kakashi-sensei, while Sasuke pushed off from the bridge railing. Alert, Haruhi pocketed the photograph. Really, sensei? Yes, we'll see what they have available, and if there's any suitable C rank missions, we'll take it. Sounds good?